What's up, everybody? This is Cherie Danielle, and I am the CEO and Executive Creative Director at 4K More. We are a production and advertising creative agency that creates content to help shift mindsets towards a more beautiful, equitable, and inclusive world. And for this Women's History Month, we are bringing to you epic women who are changing the world through art, through business, and in their communities. And today we welcome artist, songwriter, and leader, Tiffany Thompson.
Thanks so much. It's awesome to be here.
You are awesome, sis. I'm so glad to have you.
Thank you.
So what's up, Tiff?
I'm glad to be back in LA and that it aligned with your podcast day. This is awesome.
Yeah, we are coming in hot on Women's History Month. I'm so excited that we have you in the studio. We have some incredible women leaders who are coming in. It was funny when I introduced you as a leader, you said, "Is that weird? Is that weird to call me a leader?" And I think, why do we as women feel like it's weird? Like, where's that coming from? Where's that coming from for you?
Oh, man. I feel like, to say I'm a leader, maybe there's this sense of like either it is or it isn't, like you don't name it. But I also think that you have to claim it in order to get those opportunities and to level yourself up and to act like a leader. And I think it's almost an affirmation to say, no, I am a leader and I have thoughts to lead in and a spirit of leadership to share with the world. But there's that moment right before you say that you're like, oh man, it's like the difference between being the boss and being bossy. And, we want to be the boss, but people often call like us bossy when it comes out of that like feminine in the corporate place. So I think, I'm a leader and I'm owning my leader energy.
And you should also own the fact that you're a boss.
And I'm a boss.
Yes, you should. All right. So I recognized that in you when I first met you almost 15 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
When you were a student at Wheaton College playing your little guitar and singing your carefully crafted tunes that you wrote.
Oh my gosh.
And I walked up to you and tell me a little bit about that experience for you, that memory. Tell me about that. When Cherie walks up to Tiffany Thompson.
Well, I was in the cafeteria. And why I was playing in the cafeteria, I don't actually have a memory of that, but I was definitely gigging in the local cafeteria. And it's funny, I feel that moment. I feel like it was on sort of the left side of the cafeteria and you like came over to me and you were way cooler than anybody in the student body. And so I was like, who is this person? You're like, my husband's a professor here. And I just remember being excited that you were a creative on campus and it evolved from there. And obviously you met my brother and you've collaborated with him and know my family and my dad. So it's so fun to see that little seed of a moment ended up evolving into years of collaboration and now this moment right here.
One thing that I was drawn to you for was the fact that you just really owned your art. So you're owning your leadership, you're getting there, but at that time, girl, you were owning your art. You were up in that cafeteria singing your tunes, talking about your next show, talking about where to find you, where they could buy your CDs, because at that time there were actual CDs. There were CDs out there.
From disc makers.
Disc makers,
$1,000 for $1,000.
Yes, you had posters, you had all this stuff, and I was like, I want to have a marketing plan like Tiffany Thompson, because I was just starting to get into my music at that point, specifically recording, and so you really led for me the example of what does it look like to put yourself out there as an artist. So I'm excited to talk about that today because I think a lot of women have trouble not only just saying they're a leader, which is how we just started, but then claiming the skill that they do and putting it out there unashamedly.
Yeah.
And if we are not willing to do that, then who's going to know about the things that we do? And if we really believe it's a gift, then why would we keep it a secret? Right?
Totally.
Okay. So you are not a secret. You can find Tiffany all over the place. So many songs under your belt. One of the biggest things that I think you bring to the world is your perspective and how you put that into song. You're going to sing some songs a little bit later, but you mentioned that you're an artist who focuses on a dance between expression and craft, and you love writing songs from your most inner space with total freedom to express what you feel through the magic of the muse. Okay, break it down for us. Magic of first of all, what is your muse? What is the magic of the muse?
Oh my gosh, the muse is the spirit. I mean, it is the spirit of love, of expanse, of God. And I mean, there's so many different people who write about the muse. I love Elizabeth Gilbert. She, in her book Big Magic, talks about how ideas move through the world and they're looking for hosts and that are we open? And I'm just picking up Rick Rubin's The Creative Act. It's unbelievable. I love Rick Rubin. And he talks about sort of the same idea, like that the role of the artist is to really be, receptive. We are basically a vessel for these things that need to come into the world. And that is a whole posture. It's a way of being, which is the subtitle of Rubin's book. And so that is really, for me, this dance between the muse and the craft is something that has been brewing in me since I was 10 years old, when I realized, okay, I'm writing in my journal. My mom made me take piano. I hate it. There's this thing called a guitar that feels much more rock and roll.
Yeah.
And I want to switch to that. And so I did that around age 11. And then eventually when I was 12 was my first song. So I love to own my age. I think that age is like beauty, grays are good. I just turned 37.
Okay.
So I celebrated my 25th anniversary of my relationship with songwriting.
Yes. What was the name of your first song? Do you remember?
What If?
Okay. And you were 10?
12.
12? Like, what questions were you asking at 12?
What if we all had wings? What if we could all see above the trees? What if there was no unknown and we all knew what the next day would bring?
Woo!
That was the poem at age 12.
You are so epic. Do not laugh. That was actually epic.
Right?
Yes, I think that's dope. I was writing about love. I was trying to just get my boyfriends to like listen to my little tapes. I would sing little songs on my tapes and talk about love as if I knew what love was. Because now, years later, you met me when I was married. I'm not married anymore.
That's right.
So that was my ex. So love evolves. But something that's interesting about love, let's talk about that real quick. When you said muse, I just read a quote recently that says, magic is the frequency of love. And you talked about muse is the magic, muse is the spirit, muse is this. So when I think about magic, and there's magic in songwriting, and there's magic when you're, a child, and that's what you just expressed. This idea that magic is the frequency of love, like, how does that hit you when you think about songwriting? And that muse atmosphere that you were just talking about?
Well, I think that if the muse is sort of moving through us to bring love forth in the world, right? When people experience something and you get those goosebumps and it's like it resonates, it reverberates, it starts to connect you with this totally new thing that feels like magic. And what's causing that, I love that. It's the frequency of love. That's where the reverberation is happening, right? And in Rubin's piece in the book, he talks about like that artists are creating something that when you hear it, it feels familiar. It's reminding you of something that you've known within yourself to be true. And Ralph Waldo Emerson, he has this quote that the role of the artist is to sort of return our rejected thoughts back to us.
Woo!
Isn't that amazing? So it's the thing that you've thought in your own mind, but you didn't have the courage or the capacity or the awareness to actually like pull out of your inner self and name and externalize. And then you see a piece of art, you hear a Marvin Gaye song, you look at a Frida painting, and all of a sudden you're like, I recognize in that something of my own alienated thoughts, of my own rejected voice, and that's why the artist is speaking to us. And
my
that's
own
magic.
Rejected voice.
Yeah.
And I think going back to love, like, could it be that the most loving thing we could do is accept our own voice? Could it be? Because when we accept our own voice, that means we're accepting ourselves. And once we accept ourselves, then we are loving ourselves.
Yeah.
We're caring for it, and we're accepting who we are and how we've been made, and our divinity and our uniqueness and our perspective.
Yeah.
Do you think that a songwriter can write epic songs that basically resonate with their audience if they do not love themselves and love others? Do you think that they could have a song that resonates?
Well, I think that I wonder if a lot of artists actually, they're writing out of the desire for self-love, not necessarily the having obtained it. Right? So I think in some ways that the hunger for the self-love can sometimes be even more motivating and connective than the having received it. And I think that this actually is something I've been thinking about a lot. I'm a really joyful person. I'm a really upbeat person. I'm an Enneagram 7.
Me too.
I'm happy most of the time. Like I kind of, I'm like one of those things at a car salesman place where it's like the little atom, the little figure, and the air pops through it and it like keeps on like coming back up.
Yes.
And my friend, we call her an orchid, and we call me the dandelion because I can like thrive in many environments. That actually it can be a hard place to create from because you're sort of stable in your own sort of sense of self-love. And I think that a lot of great art, penetrating art, reverberating art, rejected thought awareness art comes from not feeling connected to that place. The struggle of feeling like I'm alone, I'm going to create about that, and then everybody else feels that too. So I think there's a place where when an artist doesn't feel that sense of inner self-love, sometimes that's almost more generative than when they do feel a lot of inner self-love. But I don't know. What do you think of that?
I think that you can write from having obtained love, and I think you can write from your hunger for love.
Yes.
But I do think love is a universal desire.
Yeah.
And I think that songwriting gives us the ability to tease that out in like a million different ways.
Totally.
So how many songs have you written?
I was updating my bio the other day, and I actually was trying to calculate this, and I went ahead and said hundreds. I don't think, and I calculated that based on like 25 years. I'm not writing a song a week. And sort of, I'm not a math person, but I crunched the numbers and I was like, I feel comfortable with like hundreds of songs. It's probably not 1,000, which I am looking forward to that. I want to kind of be able to track that. But I would say, at least a couple hundred songs, if not maybe like 3, 4.
So a lot of women who are in the creative world struggle with this desire for perfection, and then it becomes debilitating, and it hinders their creative process. For you to have written hundreds of songs, moving into thousands, it seems like you have developed some sort of way not to judge your art and just let it go. Is this true?
I would say that's a place I want to be.
Okay.
I definitely have had a lot of people tell me my art wasn't good enough. I've had a lot of people say that I'm not qualified for an opportunity. I've had a lot of moments where I didn't get the gig. I didn't get the grant. So I really try to operate from a place of like, my responsibility is to create it, to put it out. That, for me, is the journey. Then there's another journey, which is the market journey of where does it fit, who responds to it. But I really try to see those as like separate journeys. And the first journey is something that unto itself is a good, that brings me joy, makes me who I am, is a huge reason why I think I'm on the planet, to create music and share that joy of music with people, which is something I've been doing since the, cafeteria at college.
Yeah.
And I think that has been something that's clarifying, that's crystallizing for me in sort of the last year or so, is that I am fully committed to a lifelong process in the journey of creating songs and songwriting. And I want to be really intentional with that second journey, which is the marketing, exposure, the work, the business of releasing and being an artist. But I'm okay also. Like, the joy from this one keeps me funded and fueled on an internal level.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's interesting because what you're talking about is creating art for the sake of the fact that you love it and that it's how you express and how you move through this world.
Yeah.
There is a business side of it, but I hear you saying those are two different things or different ways you look at it, but you're not letting the business of it stop you from the creation of it. And I have a lot of friends stuck in the business side of it is stopping them from creating, which is so sad because they could have had like thousands of songs by now or thousands of sculptures or thousands of paintings. But instead they're like, well, who's going to buy this? And when you think of like Maya or you think of Frida, like I highly doubt that they were sitting there wondering what market or how to roll out a social media campaign for their latest poem or latest, painting. They were experiencing life and they were documenting their unique experience. They were experiencing life and they were observing others and they were observing culture and they were observing, in Shirley's case, politics and leadership. And it was through that they manifested their art and spoke about their art and brought rejected thoughts, right? Things that needed to be elevated or marginal, or voices that were marginalized. They brought it to the surface.
Yes.
And so I think for me, that's what I want to do through art. That's why 4K More even exists, is to help to elevate marginalized voices through art. And then create content, that shifts people's mindsets towards a more beautiful, equitable, and inclusive world. Now, there's so many ways to create. You're obviously a songwriter. You're going to sing in a few minutes, but you've started a new journey of creation called kintsugi. Kintsugi. Tell us a little bit about this expression for you.
So I came across kintsugi through a mentor of mine, Makoto Fujimura, who is a Japanese painter, and he learned about it through his, culture from being from Japan, being Japanese, but also he was over in Tokyo visiting one of his galleries, and he met a kintsugi master. And they were exchanging these ideas around how kintsugi can really be a pathway of mending for people on an individual level. And this kintsugi master had taken sort of quicker drying materials and a food-safe version of his art form to the shores of Japan where the tsunami had occurred in 2011 and had helped kids there mend some of the broken teaware, which is the ancient art form that comes from the early 16th century, was around sort of the powerful elite mending precious teaware with gold. And that was what we sort of know of as the classic kintsugi. But this expression was really around sort of everyday things, everyday people who have had trauma and have had struggle and have had brokenness, having an art form that gives them a chance to actually mend it and make it a new creation. So when I learned about this from my mentor, I loved it. I was a part of a certification crew that went through the program in New York. And now I've had the chance to lead some programs teaching this at universities, private groups, retreat centers all over the U.S. And I've found that the metaphor of kintsugi, which means kin means gold and tsugi means to mend or sort of bridge generations. For me, my journey as an artist has a lot of different pieces to it. There's like the college piece. There's the job that I had as an analyst at the CIA. There's the job that I had with the leadership organization.
You guys heard that right. This is an actual artist who can also be very analytical and organized and worked for the CIA. This is true. Okay, continue.
It feels divergent, but ultimately they're all pieces of my kintsugi journey, right? And the thing about kintsugi is that the new thing isn't fixed. It's not fixing what happened before. It's not fixing it to make it super glued, though we use super glue in our process. It's actually a new creation. And we encourage people who go through our kintsugi experiences to name their pieces because this is a new thing. That's the result of the love, the the care, the magic of the making process. And so kintsugi for me, being able to say, I'm a recording artist, I'm a songwriter, I'm a singer, I'm a kintsugi artist. That has been really expansive and ties to that whole journey around leadership of saying, I love leading a group of people through this art form and seeing the things that they learn on their personal level, as well as this like communal level, as well as the social level. And finding a metaphor, finding a story like that that brings you life personally is such a moment and a gift, and I'm grateful to have gotten it in my 30s.
It sounds like you found another way to songwrite, to tell story, to create lyric, but through this broken glass being put back together, naming pieces, a new creation. Like that's narrative. I mean, that's what you're doing, is you're creating these strings of lyrics that create a story out of all these diverse pieces and perspectives. I think that's really beautiful. Again, when I think about women, and we're in Women's History Month, we just struggle with things like, am I a leader, putting ourselves out there? But I think we also struggle with pivoting.
Yes.
Because we're used to being labeled and staying in that space.
Yeah.
But our womanhood evolves. We are becoming women, becoming ing. And all of those pieces I mentioned, I recently went through a divorce. Like, even those pieces of my life, even though very painful split, but I'm starting to just reconcile, how do I pull from the good of those almost 15 years?
Yep.
And what do I want to leave in the past, and what do I want to carry forward?
Yes.
And that's actually in Africa, they call that the Sankofa experience, where you look back, you only take what you need and you move it forward, but you keep your focus forward.
Yes.
Right?
Can I throw something in there?
Yeah.
So they're in kintsugi, you're working with these different pieces, right? And it's always interesting. Some people really want to use every single piece from the break, right?
Okay.
And the more complex the break, the harder it is to use all of the pieces. And so often when somebody brings something in, there's 2 pieces, simple break, no big deal. We can put that, mend it, you're using both of them. When somebody brings something in that's shattered,
Sure.
and it's got maybe like 15 pieces, I'll say, this is your piece. You're welcome to do this process however you want. But as somebody who has sort of observed this, let me just let you know, it'll be much easier to leave these 6 shattered smaller pieces just off to the side.
Wow.
And let's build back with these core pieces.
Sure.
And the holes, we can either leave them, which is one aesthetic approach in kintsugi, and we just sort of seal them with the putty material. Okay. Or we can build new material in that space and paint the whole hole gold.
I love this idea of leaving holes, right? Because I think when we talk about healing, we think that we have to all of a sudden become whole and fill all the holes immediately. But what if you want to leave some open for the new? What if I don't know what I want in that place yet?
Yeah.
What if you haven't discovered what you want in that place yet? Don't just force something in that.
Yeah.
Let it be until you find the right piece. I love that idea. And I also love the idea of letting it be a place that you haven't yet discovered and you don't know if you ever will. It's okay to have question marks,
Yeah.
What if, as a child at 12, what if?
Come on. What if we all had wings?
Okay. So I love that. I love that you've also found a way to lead communities. And so I know that you are positioning yourself as both an artist and a thought leader, someone who has something to say. You want to do this through what you've coined keynote concerts. So talk to me about keynote concerts. I love that term. Did you coin that?
It's sort of been out there. There's different artists who use it and think about their performances this way. And I think that this ties back to music and songwriting is really a way to engage the world and how I process the world and think about the world and feel the world. You know, it's very head and heart for me.
Okay.
And so I had some opportunities over the past few years to write songs about issues that are really important to me. One of those is anti-sex trafficking.
Yep.
I wrote a song for an organization called Willow International and told the story of the girls that they've pulled out of sex trafficking in Uganda through a song, and they've used it in a variety of different ways through their storytelling. And what I realized was, you know, often in the event context, in the sort of gathering context, music is entertainment.
Right.
Right? There's your speaker who has something to say.
Right.
And then there's like the band at happy hour.
Woo!
And that's
a passive experience.
a passive experience.
Sure.
Like, you know, mostly covers, like totally that there's a world where that's awesome. Like, I love bands at happy hour wherever I am. Yes, please. But I think for my journey, what I've seen is I could actually merge those things. I could bring this analyst, thinker, reader, lyric-driven artist to a main stage and pair that with the songs that I have and actually have the songs be the arc of the presentation.
There you go.
Right? And so some people use PowerPoint, I use a keyboard.
There you go.
So how do you know, these are tools of communication. They're ways of accessing our inner self and sharing that with others. And so this is something I'm so excited about. I've had a few opportunities to do it with different companies. And it just, people come up after and they are like, what was that? I've never experienced something like that at a chicken dinner at a corporate event, you know? And I'm like, well, it is available to you and all of your friends. So
keynote concerts.
Yeah, it's
so
awesome.
How could someone book you if there was a company out there listening to this? It's like, hey, I'm open to a different type of expression for our next conference. How can they book you?
Yeah, they can just email me. My email is Tiffany at Danae, which is my middle name, .co. And I have information about it. And I love doing that and weaving music into breakouts and all sorts of things. So I'm deeply passionate as somebody who's had a kintsugi career that in our daily work, whatever that is, whether that's at a manufacturing company, a pharmaceutical company, a creative agency, we can actually tap into the power of the arts to help us flourish wherever we are. And that's not only at home or only in your car on the way to work. People can actually have experiences through artistic modalities at work that make them a more whole person there, have better well-being, better mental health, and actually be more productive for these companies. And the companies, we know we need more options for how we engage our employees, how we engage people. And I really believe in some of the work that I'm doing. It's going to be sort of the next generation of how you do team culture, team engagement, and really well-being at corporations.
I'd like to figure out how we could teach diversity, equity, and inclusion through this art form you're talking about. You're talking about diverse pieces, right?
Yeah.
And how they fit together. And I think that is the work of diversity and inclusion, and looking at things from different perspectives. So that's that. We might have to talk about that. All right, now for the time everyone has been waiting for. You have some songs to share with us.
Yeah.
So I am going to move out of the way, and I'm going to give the yellow couch to you. And you guys, you're going to love this. This is Tiffany Thompson.
This song is called Gold in the Dirt. And I wrote it about that ever ongoing journey of creativity and knowing that there's something out there, maybe within yourself, maybe within the community, that you know is so good and you want to dig for it, but you just need that little bit of encouragement to keep on trying, keep on pushing past failure, keep on pushing past the darkness, and knowing that you're made for something beautiful, bold, and golden. I'm done living my life just to get out alive. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yellow flickering light got it in my side. Whoa, whoa.
Doesn't really matter what it costs us. Gonna carry this shovel till the sun comes up. Break up the dust in the earth. 'Cause there's gold in the dirt. Oh, there's gold in the dirt. Dig a little deeper. Oh, there's gold in the dirt. Black, blue, blood runs through. Every inch is proof. Whoa, whoa. Shine, shine deep in the mind. Leave the past behind. Whoa, whoa. Doesn't really matter what the ending is. I got one shot, I'm gonna take it. Shake up the dust in the earth. 'Cause there's gold in the dirt. Oh, there's gold in the dirt. Dig a little deeper. There's gold in the dirt. Doesn't really matter what it costs us. Gonna carry this shovel till the sun comes up. Doesn't really matter what the ending is. I got one shot, I'm gonna take it. Break up the dust in the earth. There's gold in the dirt. There's gold in the dirt. Dig a little deeper. Oh, there's gold in the dirt. Thank you. This song is called Human Life, and a number of years ago I learned about an organization called Willow International. They're doing amazing work in anti-sex trafficking, and I loved the idea of the willow tree being this metaphor, this image of actually the resiliency in a human heart and the way that it bends and moves with the wind and with the storm, but it doesn't break. And I thought that that was such an amazing way to tie the name of this organization to the actual experience of the powerful women that they work with in Uganda. And that's what this song is about. Take a walk with me to the willow tree. Hear hidden memories of another's life. Don't you love the way she can bend and not break underneath the weight and wrongs of life? They can't put a price on a human life. It's a twisted game evil people play, thinking if they sold me, it means that they own me, means that they own me. But I am free, I am faith, I am hope in a hideaway. I am love, I am brave, I'm not afraid to stand up to hate. They can't put a price on a human life. My eyes fear the dark and my body bears the scars. but I've got a resilient heart and a home for the restart. Yeah, I'm free to dance, rise up and dream. I make heaven real in the face of adversity, 'cause I am free, I am faith, I am hope in a hideaway. I am love, I am brave, I'm not afraid to stand up to hate. They can't put a price on a human life. No, they can't put a price on a human life. We are free, we are faith, we are hope in a hideaway. We are love, we are brave, we're not afraid to stand up to hate. We are free, we are faith, we are hope in a hideaway. We are love, we are brave, we're not afraid to stand up to hate. They can't put a price on a human life. In every gathering, there is this moment of welcome, a moment of entering the threshold of that place. And we all agree in that moment to be there together, to open ourselves up to something new, to open ourselves up to an introduction, a connection, a illumination, an insight from the content. And often we walk through that threshold not even knowing it. We're just all of a sudden supposed to be there. And this song provides us with a moment of welcome, of invitation to experience the communion that's present and awaiting us in any space that someone invites us into intentionally. Welcome, new communions. Let go of your pain and burdens. Admission is free. Just confess you're a human with a heart open wide. New communions. Well, the darkness of night don't stand a chance with fire and starlight starting to dance on faces of friends all gathered round. Life in this moment, what's lost is found. Welcome, new communions. Let go of your pain and burdens. Admission is free, just confess you're a human with a heart open wide to new communions. Well, we're building a home, breaking some bread, making the time to really listen. You are a mystery I wanna explore, a distant horizon as close as the shore. Welcome, new communions. Let go of your pain and burdens. Admission is free, just confess you're a human with a heart open wide to new communions. rage around us, but love has found us right where we are. Oh, storms rage around us, but love has found us right where we are. Oh, storms rage around us, but love has found us right where we are. Welcome, new communions. Let go of your pain and burdens. Admission is free, just confess you're human. Admission is free, just confess you're a human. Admission is free, just confess you're a human. With a heart open wide to new communions.
Good job.
Thank
you,
you.
Tiffany. Good job. I really loved just your expression, and I love that I get to share this with my community and with other women who will be hopefully liberated to express and create and find their frequency, right? Find their story. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Is there anything else, if you could just encourage women right now who are watching this, what would you say to them?
Feel freedom. Feel freedom. Feel freedom to express. Feel freedom to lead. Feel freedom to emote. And that each of those can be an offering and a gift to somebody else. And you might not ever know that, but if you feel that freedom and you live in that freedom, I think we can really bring that love into the world that you were talking about earlier.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, this is Cherie Danielle, CEO and Executive Creative Director at 4K More, and this is Tiffany Thompson. Thanks so much for watching. Peace. Hey everybody, I hope that you enjoyed the Women History Month interviews. If you are interested in telling your story or bringing your leadership skills in front of my audience, which is primarily artists of color, hit me up at Cherie, Shuree, at 4kmore.com. Also, if you're like, hey, I need some production work, I need some music work, I need some design work, or I need some social media marketing help, 4K More has got you. We, again, specialize in creating content that helps shift mindsets towards a more beautiful, equitable, inclusive world. Hit us up. Peace.